Hello and welcome to PocketGamer.biz's YouTube channel. I'm Jon Jordan, and today we're looking at the evolution of Glu Mobile's shooter series, Frontline Commando. So there's been a number of Frontline Commando games over the years. We're looking at the first one to begin with, obviously. So Frontline Commando, the first one was 2011. There's been various versions of it since then. There's been some kind of World War II versions as well, so there's been kind of quite a well-populated franchise in and of itself. Glu have also done a lot of shooter games, so there's been other ones that basically use the same technology but do them in different ways. So there was some zombie ones, and there was famously Jason Statham's Sniper X, so we all have a bit of Jason Statham. But this is the first one, so this is the kind of point at which they start. So just very quickly, let's have a look at some gameplay. So here we go. Right, start mission. So the two things we'll be looking at with progression is gameplay and also monetization. So we can just see here, this is what rifle I've got with me at the moment. This looks like the main machine gun. So I can move around slightly, so I can move to different positions, but effectively it's kind of like an on rails type shooter. So nothing terribly controversial here. Oh, where's this guy off to? So I'm going to shoot him. I can swap weapons. So you can have two weapons at any one time. There's the sniper weapon. So we can find someone. We come. Okay, got him. Okay, and I've got health. There's other things I can do. So swap weapons back. So I've got a health kit. I can also do an airstrike, so there we go. Airstrike just comes in and just takes out a bunch of stuff. So let's forfeit that, because we can see the gameplay is one of the aspects I want to do, but I want to also look at the other stuff. So mission failed, didn't complete it. So let's have a look at what we call the metagame, which is what goes on around the game. So for that we kind of go into the store. So with the game, the Frontline Commando is a series. I mean, you can kind of get better in terms of skill, but the main focus of the game is your weapons. So as you can see here, the first one I've got a shotgun. So the ones I've got a shotgun. I've got a sniper's rifle. I've got assault rifle. They've all got different damage, clip size, the usual kind of stuff. So I can buy a rocket launcher. So you can see here, the rocket launcher is 40 gold credits. Actually, the UI in this game isn't very good because I use this horrible square font everywhere, but we can see here that some of the things are in the soft currency, the kind of dollars, which I have a bit of. You earn that as you complete missions, and then there's the hard currency. So I've only got 8 of those. So the kind of coolest weapons, they want you to spend the hard currency on, which probably means you're paying real money to get them. We can see that for the steel, I can unlock that when I've got to level 3, so I'm only level 2 in the game, and just kind of starting out to demonstrate it really. So there's the guns. There's different types. There's assault, sniper, shotgun, launcher, and they kind of get a bit bizarre. Some of these made up. Oblitter Death 800. So other things I can get items. So we kind of saw there's the airstrike stuff. Interestingly, all these are hard currency. There's packs where you get a bit of mixture of stuff, so you get some armor and a bit of discounts and stuff. And the bank is where you buy stuff. You can get more free gold by watching videos. But is it what we might call, and certainly at the time, was a fairly standard monetization system? You had a soft currency, which basically you earned through playing the game. You had the hard currency, which sometimes you earned maybe if you leveled up or did something particularly well, but basically you didn't really get very much hard currency. And if you wanted the cool weapons, you either had to really grind for a long time or just go, I'm going to buy it. So it wasn't necessarily a total gated system, but it was more like a gated system. We can also see, so there was I could log into Facebook and get 10 free golds. But what we would say at the time, a fairly standard kind of free-to-play game where there was a kind of an action. You couldn't autoplay the action at all or anything like that. There was kind of a single-player kind of thing. That was what you were doing, and good for the time, but now fairly old-fashioned. So let's go off and have a look at another Glu Mobile game. Let's have a look at the next one in the series. Okay, so now we're on to Frontline Commando 2. So this is 2 years later, 2013, this game came out, and we can already see quite different. So the screen, the user interface is much better. We can actually kind of read it. And there's a few different things going on here. So we obviously got the same thing. We've got I've got my primary assault weapon. I've got a secondary sniper's rifle. We can see there's a damage thing going on here. More interestingly, we have an upgrade system. So we can see here I can upgrade. There's different elements. So I can, instead of just buying a new weapon, there's this kind of upgrade. So I can upgrade the damage effectively. I can upgrade the rate of fire. You know, and obviously the upgrades are pretty small. The difference just by doing one upgrade is pretty small. But obviously the impact, if you keep doing them between an unupgraded weapon and an upgraded weapon, is pretty big. What else we got? So we've got some armor. That's pretty much the same as before. Let's go back. So we've got some retailing, a bit more kind of interesting retailing, not so kind of plain. In a sense, the monetization system is the same. Okay, so you've got a soft currency and a hard currency. So that's again pretty, you know, that kind of basic underlying thing is pretty straightforward. What we've also got though, we've got a squad. So I've got AI controlled players that I can play with. So I've got Dutch and Ice. So obviously they can do. One of them is a kind of like a shooter. One of them's got a shotgun. So I can actually train him up. See if I can do that. Okay, so train my squad mate. So he's also got a grenade option. So I can train him with a little bit of soft currency. So there he goes. I can train him again. That takes a bit of time. So it's time. Got supplies as well. So this is kind of thing we saw before in the first game in the series. We had this kind of airstrike stuff. So now it's kind of similar supplies. Drones, grenades, syringes to revive fallen squad members. Obviously, squad members is something that's added in this medkit for yourself. You can get an RPG. So I can throw a drone. You can see here I can get. So again, similar kind of monetization in the sense that the cool stuff is you're buying with hard currency. There's no option to do soft currency on that. So that's where we have with that. The other interesting thing here is now there's PvP. So PvP, player versus player, is obviously a big element in terms of retention and getting people to come back. The single player mission is still, I guess, the main part of this game, as it was in the first one. But I can go off and battle people. Interestingly, you can kind of see I can have some power ups as well. So there's a kind of how well balanced this is a massive for conjecture really. If you know that whole play to win, if you've got a lot more money, you can buy more power ups. In terms of actually, we haven't done the game, have we? Let's quickly. So there's so this is the mission structure. So we can see here it's kind of like the usual 3-star thing, but some of the stuff is locked until you've so this stick and break elite. I must have the following, so my weapon isn't upgraded enough to do that. So there's some more subtle kind of gating, I suppose, of what's going on. So this one, again, it lets me play on this one. I have actually completed it on 3 stars, but it's telling me my damage isn't. It doesn't recommend doing it at this level, so it's kind of asking me to level up. And obviously, because we have this leveling up system, that's kind of the weapon leveling up this kind of system. And that's why it's asking me to do that. It's kind of encouraging me to spend that soft currency. Oh, you guys can pop up. So this guy here, the shotgun with he's got grenades. He'll throw a grenade at me. Still, it's the same thing. We're kind of in fixed positions, moving around. But obviously, graphically much nicer. But you can see my squad mate there. He's doing his stuff, helping me out. Which just makes it feel like a bit more of an immersive environment. We'll just throw a grenade, so I want to get out of the way. So we just see the gameplay has. I mean, the basic gameplay hasn't really changed. We could change. What have we got? Sniper. So, they're all dead. I'll be up there, I think. There's a sniper. So you can see the snipers gonna shoot me. I'm reloading. Another sniper up there. Get the idea. So the game is more sophisticated in terms of certainly the user interface, certainly the user experience, certainly the monetization. There's different types of gameplay. So that's saying that guys telling me what the thing said the prompt said beforehand I should really go and upgrade my weapon. Anyway, so again, in terms of the basic kind of monetization, it's gone a step forward. The basic monetization is the same as soft hard currency. Obviously, it's the same for lots of games. It's a bit more interesting with the retailing. So I've got this kind of retailing thing that's saying in 1 minute, there's a pack and it's limited. So if I want that, I should really jump on that kind of quickly. Energy system, that's all pretty standard. So definitely a jump forward, not a revolutionary jump forward from the first game, but a good progression in where the kind of Frontline Commando franchise was going. I have to say, the Frontline Commando games haven't been like super lucrative for Glu, and they've been kind of good performers. They've never been Kim Kardashian. They've never done tens of millions of dollars in a quarter, but they've all been, they appeal to obviously a certain market, and they've done okay. So that's kind of, I guess, the financial background. So let's go and have a look at where we are now in 2006. Okay, so here we are in 2016. This is Glu's latest game, shooter game. Originally in soft launch, actually, it was called Frontline Commando Rivals. Since it's gone live, they've changed it to Rivals Fire. So the background of this game is, obviously we've seen the Frontline Commando franchise has been around for quite a few years, and has been doing its thing, steadily progressing. But Glu got investment from Tencent. Tencent is the massive Chinese games, PC and online and mobile company, and they have a very popular game called WeFire. It's massive in Japan, shooter game. And what basically this one, which is why it's called Rivals Fire, is kind of like an amalgam of the two. So taking like the best things that Glu has learned from its Frontline Commando franchise and how kind of Tencent operates its kind of WeFire game. So you kind of ended up with this kind of slightly doesn't seem like it's in the Frontline Commando franchise, but it definitely is. So we can see the from the quite clean look of the Frontline Commando 2 game in the kind of the home screen. This has kind of gone a bit more look at me as in, and this is what you kind of find in lots of Chinese games, just a lot going on. So let's try and quickly go through some stuff. So we can see here up here there's an email system. So email system is where stuff is, I don't know, where you claim stuff. So this Angel of Death is, I think, a player who I kind of was friends with, so they've sent me some stuff. I've received some, you can see there's an energy system. These are emails from the developer. So I've got some login rewards, I've got some login rewards, and I've got some important messages, nothing in there. Okay, so there's a mail system, there's boot camp, which is, I guess, when I'm starting out. There's some missions I can complete to gain some rewards. It's just a lot of different kind of ways to encourage me to play. I've got this thing here, which is the looking like that's telling me what's going on. Just looks like, I don't even know what that is really telling me. I don't know. There's the event system. So this is all PvP stuff. So we mentioned PvP was first introduced in Frontline Commando 2. Now this is a massive part of this game. I can take video. I can obviously do the same thing before logging with Facebook and get some gems now rather than the gold system. There's a chat thing here, which is just a global chat. I'm not in a guild on this, but there are guilds as well. So guilds are obviously a massive part. There's a private chat if I want to find a player's ID to do a chat. So chatting systems, again, for most players, just a bit meaningless really, but for committed players, really important to keep the retention. So there's friends thing, which says, so there's the Angel of Death, so I can chat with him or her. Angel of Death agreed to be my friend. Quite why I did that, don't know. Let's mention the guild, so I can join any guild. Catchphrase, please join. So there's a task list. I mean, just again, so there's something else I can claim. I don't know. I completed normal stage chapter 1 airstrike, so I get some stuff. Okay, so you can just see, instead of like, there's just a lot of stuff to go through now. The general metagame around the game is much bigger, and you compare it to the first game, there was nothing. You could go in and buy a new gun. Now there's all this. I mean, what's this going across the screen? Rangot achieved first place on the survival rankings. Good for them. So it's good to go into guns. So guns are an important thing. So do that now, yeah. So you can see as before, the guns there's kind of different types of weapons. There's assault rifles, sniper. You can have 2 at any one time. You have grades on them. So let's go into. So this is my basic assault rifle. So now what we can see now is down the bottom of the screen. You can see, as in Frontline Commando 2, there was this basically you could upgrade 4 elements of the weapon, and they were kind of a bit abstract. They were kind of like rate of fire and damage. Now I'm actually upgrading individual components. So we can see here I've got a ammo that I can enhance. So I don't know what that's come up for. Limited offer, yeah, okay. So let's enhance. I've got insufficient components. Okay, have I done that then? Oh, I need 3. Yeah, okay. And I can. So I did level that up. So it's gone up to level 3 now. But then I can level up the entire gun if I've got any XP. So I've got that XP thing that I just earned from one of those things that I claimed. Add all XP, level up. It cost me a bit of currency, but now you can see my gun's leveled up. So still, they've got now 4 criteria for the damage, critical likelihood of a critical hit, clip and piercing ability. Oh no, sorry, there's 8 now. All these other ones as well. So there's much more kind of complexity in terms of how they're modelling the weapon, and much more complexity in terms of how you kind of level it up. So the other interesting thing is you can go into, if you look down the right hand side, you can dismantle and dismember. So once you get a new weapon, you can take the old bit apart and get all those components and kind of sell them off. So there's a new weapon. Yeah, I mean it's the whole kind of gun porn thing, isn't it? So that one is the ability. What's here new? Okay, so let's go into the other thing that is a bit different here. So we had the squad before. So you can see my squad members. I can have 3 other squad members and a vehicle. But what's interesting about this is before the whole shooter thing tends to be kind of gruff men. Here, this is a kind of a very Japanese thing, a Chinese thing, sorry. So I've got Natasha, who clearly is a figure who appeals to a certain age, genre of gender of gamer. So instead of having like a buddy shooter guy, I've got this kind of quite attractive girl wearing sunglasses and showing her navel. So it might seem a very small thing, but actually this is where previously Glu was. It wasn't. I mean, it's a contemporary shooter, but not realistic in any way, obviously. But now it's kind of, you can see the whole kind of environment of the game, the whole kind of look and feel, everything about it is kind of becoming this kind of much more fantastical thing. So what can I do with her? I can upgrade her gun as well. I'm not got any stuff to do that with. What we got here? I can level her up. Okay, because I've got a vest and a jacket. So I can. Up she goes. She's now level 6. So we can see her various stats, lots more stats on the squad mate. Okay, and then let's quickly go into a game. Oh, where's that store one still going? What can I do to her now? Oh, I can upgrade me, can I? I've got a jacket. Okay. So even the armour now is also split out into different components. So the whole thing has been made much more sophisticated. So let's quickly go into a game. So here we are. So we've got going to use up some energy. It's got my recommended. It's got my current. So that's kind of the same as before. You can see equally at the bottom we've got possible drops. So these are obviously things as XPO. It's very useful. So we kind of, the game is not about weapons anymore. It's about components of weapons. So again, I can buy these boosts, but this time, remember previously a lot of them were based on hard currencies. In this case, gems. But now I can buy the RPGs or the grenades. Just by spending my soft currency, and I've got 30 of them now, and I'm going to go into the weapon, into the battle with that. So she's my squad mate. Okay, next. I can also invite a friend, so Angel of Death can come with me.
We've got intelligence reports of suspicious activity at the harbor.
So everything, this guy.
One of Cobra's top lieutenants.
Faye, another unlikely character.
Ships are packed with.
And we can also see we can fuse guns together. So if we have 2 guns of the same, we can fuse it together. But in terms of the basic gameplay, you can see this is very familiar. Heavy assault
This
soldier.
is a
Okay,
heavy
so
assault soldier. They
I'll
use
take
machine
you
guns
now.
to tear through your cover.
You can see here, there's like 2 of them have come straight towards me. So again, it's much less kind of realistic. There's a grenade coming in. So these guys are literally just walking towards me. It's almost, it's like a... Oh, these grenade guys. Oh, goodness. So I could just get an RPG from nowhere. Just do that. Throw a grenade at them. So there we go. It's much more of a kind of an arcadey type thing. You can even see with the with kind of what's going on screen and the prompts I'm getting. It's much. I mean, this is I guess a particular level as well. They're not all quite as mad as this. But what Tencent has made Glu realise is this is not about contemporary. It's not about being realistic. It's being about thinking about what your audience wants, which is basically young boys, teenage boys, probably maybe in their 20s. I'm sure not a lot of women in their 30s are playing these kind of games. And just giving them what they want. So there we go. I did the mission. That was really quick. I won some stuff. I got some XP. I got some gold, soft currency. I'm going to get a retail thing, so retailing is quite heavy. So again, there's a cool weapon, which doesn't look like anything in the real world. I don't think that'd even work. Limited offer, yeah, okay. Ask me again. So there we go. So that's the kind of progression of where Glu has gone, and it's the reason I think this is interesting. It's much more than where Glu has gone. So Glu has actually been quite good historically. It's very early into free-to-play games, and has kind of been quite always ahead of the game on how it wants to monetize. It's always monetized a little bit, what I would consider in an aggressive way. That's not a bad thing. It's always been quite upfront about monetization. But we can see, and okay, this is over a 5-year period, so it would be surprising if we didn't see any change. But particularly now with this game with Rivals Fire, there's a big shift has happened in the last year or so. And partly that's, I think, a big influence of Asian games that have done very well. In this case, it's Glu has worked with Tencent specifically, but we've seen it in general. All Western developers now are heavily influenced by the games that have done very well in Japan, Korea, and China. And it is not so much about the game itself. The gameplay is, as we can see, has effectively not changed at all. But it is all about the metagame. It's all about how you're adding kind of different elements in. So we've got the squad mate stuff came in. Now it's more complex. You've got friends coming in. Definitely the monetization, definitely the metagame, definitely anything you can level up. And anything you do in the game is about winning lots of different types of prizes. So you obviously win some currency, but equally you win other things that are more useful to keep you coming back and back and back. It's not just about grinding out currency. So a much more sophisticated approach to what makes us play games. And we're seeing that throughout the industry. So that was just a little overview. I thought it was interesting, so shared it with you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like this kind of thing. And we hope to see you again soon.